Some people look calm on the outside, but inside, their mind never fully sits still. They can lie down, close their eyes, turn off the lights, and still feel as if something inside them remains awake, still watching, still processing, still asking questions no one else seems to notice. To others, this can look like overthinking. It can look like being too serious, too sensitive, or unable to simply enjoy the moment. But often, what people misunderstand is this. The same mind that struggles to fully relax is usually the same mind that notices what others miss, understands things deeply, and sees layers beneath ordinary experiences. Deep thinkers are not restless because something is wrong with them. Very often they are restless because their mind was built to search beyond the surface. And while that can sometimes feel exhausting, it is also a quiet strength. Because the people who think deeply often carry a kind of awareness that shapes how they move through life, how they love, how they protect themselves, and how they understand the world. If you have ever wondered why true relaxation feels harder for you than it seems for others, there may be deeper psychological reasons behind it. Here are some of them. Number one, your mind does not stop at what is visible. Psychology shows that people with reflective thinking styles naturally process more layers of information than average. When something happens, many people experience the event and move on. A deep thinker often continues beyond the event itself. A simple conversation can become a long chain of reflection. Why did they pause before answering? Did that sentence mean something more? What were they feeling underneath their words? Even quiet moments can trigger thought. You may sit alone in a peaceful room, but your mind begins connecting memories, ideas, emotions, and possibilities. That is why rest can feel incomplete. Your body may be still, but your inner world remains active. And sometimes this happens automatically, without you choosing it. A small example is when you try to sleep after an ordinary day, but your mind suddenly begins reviewing something someone said hours ago. Not because you want stress, but because your brain naturally continues searching for meaning. What matters is understanding that this is not a flaw. It often means your mind is highly observant. The same tendency that keeps you mentally active is also what allows you to notice emotional details others often miss. Number two, you often feel responsible for understanding everything around you. Research indicates that thoughtful personalities often carry a stronger internal need to make sense of situations before emotionally letting go. This means that uncertainty can quietly stay in your mind longer than expected. If something feels unresolved, even in a small way, part of you keeps returning to it. A disagreement, an unanswered message, a strange tone in someone's voice. You may appear calm, but internally your mind keeps trying to organize the emotional meaning of what happened. This is why some deep thinkers struggle to fully enjoy relaxation. A free moment can suddenly become a time when unfinished thoughts return. While others are simply resting, your mind may still be trying to complete invisible emotional work. You may tell yourself, I should relax now, but another part of you still feels mentally unfinished. This often happens because deep thinkers do not easily separate emotion from understanding. They want clarity before peace, but life does not always provide immediate clarity. And learning to accept that not every thought needs immediate resolution becomes an important form of emotional maturity. Sometimes peace begins when you allow uncertainty to exist without forcing an answer. Number three, your nervous system often stays alert, even during calm moments. Psychology shows that people who are highly reflective are often more sensitive to subtle changes in their environment. That means your brain notices tone shifts, facial expressions, silence, tension, and emotional undercurrents more quickly than many people realize. Even when nothing obvious is happening, your mind may still be scanning quietly. You may enter a room and instantly feel something is different. No one says anything, but you sense the mood. You may speak with someone and notice what they are not saying more than what they are saying. This constant awareness can make relaxation difficult because your system does not always feel fully off duty. Part of you remains attentive. This does not mean you are anxious all the time. It often means your mind is naturally tuned to subtle information. The positive side is that this sensitivity often makes deep thinkers thoughtful friends, careful listeners, and emotionally intelligent observers. But it also means true rest sometimes requires more intentional effort, because your mind needs reassurance before it fully softens. Sometimes even silence feels mentally full, because your awareness remains active. Number four, you replay experiences because you care about growth. Research suggests that reflective people often revisit situations not just from worry, but from a desire to understand themselves better. This is why deep thinkers often replay conversations, decisions, and past reactions. You may ask yourself, why did I react that way? What could I have said differently? What does this reveal about me? To someone else, it may look like dwelling too much, but often it is your mind trying to learn. The challenge is that growth-focused thinking can become exhausting when it never pauses. A deep thinker may turn one small moment into a long internal review. A short conversation becomes 20 minutes of reflection. A decision becomes several mental versions of what could have happened differently. Yet this same habit often leads to strong self-awareness. You notice patterns in yourself. You recognize emotional shifts. You learn from experiences many people forget too quickly. The goal is not to stop reflecting. The goal is learning when reflection has already given enough. Sometimes growth also means allowing yourself to leave a thought unfinished and still trust yourself. Number 5. You often connect rest with vulnerability. For many deep thinkers, fully relaxing means temporarily lowering mental control. And that can feel uncomfortable, because when the mind slows down, emotions often rise more clearly. Thoughts you kept busy during the day may become louder at night. Questions you avoided may suddenly appear in quiet moments. This is why some people stay mentally busy without realizing it. A busy mind can sometimes feel safer than emotional stillness. Psychology shows that many thoughtful people unconsciously use mental activity as a way to stay prepared. If the mind stays active, it feels like nothing unexpected can catch you off guard. But true rest asks for something difficult. It asks you to trust that not everything needs guarding. It asks you to believe that stillness is not dangerous. And this can take practice, especially for minds that learned early to stay mentally alert. But once you understand this, you stop judging yourself for struggling to relax. You begin seeing that your mind may simply need gentleness before it feels safe enough to rest. And perhaps the most important thing to remember is this: the fact that your mind goes deep does not mean you are broken. It means you experience life with unusual depth. You notice details many people skip. You ask questions many people avoid. You search for meaning where others accept surfaces. Yes, this can make rest harder. But it also means your mind carries depth, awareness, and insight that can become one of your greatest strengths, when understood with compassion. The goal is not to become less thoughtful. It is to learn that peace does not require turning off who you are. It only asks that you stop treating every quiet moment like a problem to solve. If this feels personal, then you may be someone whose mind carries more depth than most people realize, and there is strength in that. Subscribe and share for more personality insights like this, because sometimes understanding your own mind changes the way you move through the world.